So thank you all for joining us today. We're very excited because this is our fourth iteration of She Sailor Sea Stories. It's been quite a ride. We've been doing them weekly, bi-weekly for a little while now to create some sort of community amongst the sailing world. My name is Amy Sinclair. I'm the National Women's Sailing Association Vice President. We are very excited to have She Sailor Sea Stories at our Old Lake conference. It's the first time we've ever tried to do a virtual online conference, and I think it's going quite well. It looks like we have over 100 people here today, which is really nice. Today we have with us a woman who needs no introduction, who many of you already know. It is the amazing Tracy Edwards. And I'm just going to read a few things about her that we're so very proud to call her a member of our warm and wonderful women's sailing community. Tracy gained international fame in 1990 as skipper of the first all-female crew to sail around the world when they raced in the 1989-90 Whitbread Round the World race. After years of struggle, Maiden was only made possible by the support of her friend, King Hussein of Jordan. Maiden won 2 legs and came second overall in her class, the best result for a British boat since 1977 and unbeaten to this day. Tracy was awarded an MBE and became the first woman in its 34-year history to be awarded the Yachtsman of the Year trophy. She paved the way for other women to follow. Maiden was published in 1990 and was number 1 on the Times bestseller list for 19 weeks. Following her success with Maiden, Tracy set to consolidate her position as one of the world's top sailors by entering Trophy Jules Verne in 1998 again with an all-female crew. This yachting trophy is for the fastest circumnavigation around the world with no stopping and no outside assistance. She was comfortably on course to smash the record for more than half of their route, but was thwarted when her mast snapped in two in treacherous seas off coast of Chile. During their attempt, Tracy and her team broke 7 world records. In 2014, Maiden was found rotting in the Seychelles, and Tracy began raising funds in order to rescue Maiden and bring her home to the UK. The Maiden Factor was consequently set up to promote and fundraise the education of 130 million girls worldwide who are currently denied this basic right. Thanks to the generous support of Princess Haya bint Al Hussein, Maiden has been restored to her former glory. Now, this iconic piece of British maritime history has embarked on a 3-year world tour. The Maiden Factor Foundation supports and works with communities who enables girls into education and empowers them to remain through graduation. Let's give a big hand and welcome Tracy Edwards, everyone.
Hi. It's so nice to be here.
Welcome.
Sorry, do you just want me to start?
Yes. So now what we'll do now is have Tracy tell her story. With the thought process around She Sailor Sea Stories is for women to tell a story about being out on the water that involves some sort of transformation or big moment, or just the history of what they've been going through as a woman sailor. And so I would like to have Tracy join us now to tell her story. So thank you.
Thank you so much, and thank you so much for having me. And it's really great to see so many names that I recognise that I didn't expect to see, and so many people who've actually been involved with what we're doing with Maiden now. So I was asked to tell you a story, and my story is basically how sailing saved my life and how it's brought me full circle to what we're doing with Maiden now. So when I stepped onto my first boat at the age of 17, I didn't know that it was going to change my life. Oh, that's me. Obviously, the waves are very high, and we're on our side there. The way that sailing changed my life is that I was expelled, excluded, disenfranchised, violent, aggressive, horrible teenager who was headed for prison, Borstal. I know people find that hard to believe, but I really was heading in not a great direction. And stepping onto my first boat taught me that I was good at something, B, that people wanted me to be there, and that I could learn. When I did my second transatlantic, I went from someone who was told I could never do maths and I was stupid, I was an idiot, sit at the back of the class and shut up, to someone who'd learned to navigate in 2 days. That taught me what different forms of education can do for someone that doesn't think that they can learn. After many years of being mentored and taught and having the most wonderful skippers and sailing, transforming my whole viewpoint of the world and my life and what I was capable of, I did the 85-86 Whitbread round the world race as a cook, because that's all women could do 35 years ago on the Whitbread, on a boat called Atlantic Privateer with 17 South African men. Wow. Longest 9 months of my life. But what it taught me was that I loved the sea more than I had ever believed, and sailing for me was going to be the rest of my life. And when I finished the 1985-86 Whitbread round the world race, amazingly, they hadn't thrown me over the side. They did threaten on a number of occasions. I realized that I wanted to sail around the world again, but that I wanted to go as me, as a navigator. I am not a cook. I'm an awful cook. I'm a really good navigator. So how was I going to do that? Well, I had to put an all-female crew together. So very selfish reasons to start this women's crusade, because I wanted to be a navigator. So we put together Maiden, which was the first all-female crew to sail in any Whitbread or sail around the world. And that was the 1989-90 Whitbread round the world race. We couldn't raise any money. No one thought we had any chance of even finishing alive. We were thinking of coming first, and if we came second, that would be awful. And people just didn't think we would get first stopover. The crew came from all over the world. We had 9 nationalities out of 12 of us. Why? Because there weren't 12 women in Britain that had the experience, hadn't been allowed to get on a boat and have that experience. We really found it hard to find the money. We had to buy a second-hand boat that was in a terrible state when we first bought her. She came in on the ship, everyone looked at her and went, "Is our boat behind that one?" And I went, "No, that is our boat." We spent a year and a half doing her up, did all the work ourselves, had no money, no help, and put our boat together and got to the start line on September the 2nd, 1989. I guess one of the highlights of sailing around the world is the Southern Ocean, and the Southern Ocean for us was great because we won the second leg of the Whitbread, which was the Southern Ocean leg. We won it by 36 hours, and that was quite phenomenal. So many people were just amazed, and it's so hard for me to think back. Now there are a world full of amazing women sailors and all the wonderful things we're all doing. I look back 30 years and I go, how crazy was it that they thought it was so impossible that we could do this? When we finished in second place overall, the best result for British boats since 1979, and that hasn't been beaten yet, although many men have tried. After the Whitbread, we all went on to do our different things, and unfortunately I had to sell Maiden. But in 2014, I found her. Someone emailed me from the Seychelles, sorry, and they said that they found that Maiden was sitting in a marina and she was rotting away, and would, I like to do anything about that. So I said, just hold it, look after her, and I will find the money. All the original crew came together. We did a big crowdfunder, and in 2 months we raised the money to buy Maiden and bring her back to the UK with the help of King Hussein's wonderful daughter, Princess Haya bint Al Hussein, who became our benefactor to do the complete restoration on Maiden and to start the world tour that we're on now. So what are we doing with the boat now? Well, the restoration took a year and a half. It was eye-wateringly expensive, I have to say, but at least we didn't have to do the work this time. We have blokes to do the work for us. It was amazing. During the time of the refit, we put together our project, the Maiden Factor Foundation, and we decided that we wanted to enable girls into education. Why? Because I'm passionate about girls' education, because I threw my education away. Someone gave me an education, I went, nah, I don't need that, thank you very much. There are people dying around the world to have an education. So that's why we do what we do. We're sailing around the world on a 3-year world tour. Well, not at the moment, because we kind of stopped in our tracks. The boat was launched in September 2018, and in November 2018 we started on our 3-year world tour. So far we've done 18 months, we've done 33,000 miles, we've raised a significant amount of money for a number of charities that we work with. If you could just move on with the next picture, that would be great. We've stopped in 22 destinations so far, and actually I think this is Port Townsend, which was just an extraordinary experience sailing into there. I think the whole town came out, and within 2 hours they'd raised an extraordinary amount of money for the charity. So what do we do when we get into port? Well, we work with communities to enable girls into education, communities that support and empower girls to stay in education. We have hundreds of schoolgirls down to visit the boat, which is total chaos and pandemonium, I have to tell you now. But the most wonderful thing about girls seeing Maiden is a living example of what they can do. It's not someone saying to them, you can do anything if you put your mind to it, and whatever. This is them touching Maiden, going on board, looking at my crew, and I know they're thinking, I could do that. It's so powerful. Maiden is an inspiration for so many people. We visit schools, we talk to young girls about what they can do, we encourage them to go into STEM subjects, engineering, electronics, all those amazing things. We empower women, we take women out sailing, and we raise a significant amount of money for communities around the world. We also have a number of girls who write messages of hope to the rest of the world. They put their hands on the spinnaker. So that spiral that you can see on the spinnaker, I think the picture disappeared sadly, but the spiral that you can see on the spinnaker is children's hands from all the way around the world. And they also write messages of hope. And these messages of hope are handed to the boat in a baton, and then the boat Maiden takes them to the next stopover, the baton comes off, the messages get opened and read, and the kids have their next messages. These are being put together as a call to action by our Maiden voices, so far Whoopi Goldberg and Jamie Lee Curtis, and these will be presented to the UN in 2022. We work with communities, as I said, and we hope that just the small things that we are doing, we will be able to play our part in changing the world to get girls into education, to keep them there, and to enable communities to do that. The future for Maiden is that we're fundraising at the moment. Obviously, we're in a little bit of a holding pattern, and we hope that the future for us will be more of the same, more inspiring young women, empowering women, getting girls out sailing, getting girls into education, and doing really what needs to be done to change the next phase of everything that we're doing to this planet, on this planet, and we feel that girls are absolutely crucial for everything that's happening right now. So that's it. That's my story. I've never told my story in 10 minutes before. I actually feel quite proud of myself. So thank you very much for listening.
Okay, that was amazing. Thank you so much, Tracy, for being here today and telling us your story. We would love to show a video about some of the work that you're doing, and so if you guys just stay tuned, we are getting ready to roll it now. Amazing. So, Tracy, please let us know if someone is interested in supporting some of the work that you're doing. Where can they go to find out more and donate to the cause?
Thank you so much, Amy, for asking. We have a big crowdfunder going on during June and July. So if you want to set up a team and do some crowdfunding for us, that would be amazing. That's at www.crowdfunder.co.uk/my-maiden-voyage. Or you can just go to maidenfactor.org and you can donate online, and you can see all the work that we're doing as well.
Okay, wonderful. We'll put a link in the chat for those of you who are interested so that you can click on that. Just make sure you save the chat before you exit because you won't be able to access it. And there's 3 little dots in the corner of the area where you would type a message. And if you click that, it'll allow you to save the chat. Okay. So we have some questions here from the audience. Captain Suki Cannon would like to know, where is Maiden now? And once you are able to move again, what will Maiden's next port of call be?
Okay, so in March, we sort of saw the writing on the wall. On March the 16th, we paused our world tour. We were just about to leave the Caribbean for Fort Lauderdale and do the East Coast of the States. But we managed to get all the crew out of Antigua. My daughter, who runs our events, literally got the last flight out. And then we didn't want to leave Maiden in the Caribbean during hurricane season. So amazingly, all of our sponsors got together and paid for the shipping to make it get home to the UK. The maritime industry is really changing and has been so supportive of us and Maiden. She's now in Hamble, tucked up in bed, resting, taking a well-earned rest. And another company is getting our cradle back from Newport, where we're supposed to be coming out of the water. And we'll be doing some work on her. And then we're hoping that in September we might be able to go around Britain and Ireland. But again, everything's so up in the air. We just don't know. We're fundraising in the meantime. And then we think we might go to the Canaries and maybe do some sailing courses to raise some funds for our foundation. Maybe do the Ark across to St. Lucia. And then literally move our American East Coast tour from this year to next year in its entirety and be in Fort Lauderdale in March. New York in April, and really get back on track. We did so much work last year with so many amazing yacht clubs and organisations and marinas and supporters of the East Coast. So we really want to get back on track and do that again. So this year is our 30th anniversary. So next year we're going to have our 30th plus 1 anniversary.
Awesome. Yeah. Okay. What race would you do if you could do another race?
Well, actually, funny you should ask that. Someone has just put together a Whitbread Legends Memorial race, and it starts in September 2023. I can't remember what it's called, but I might give you the details so you can send it out to everyone. And Maiden was the first boat to register our applications in, and we're registered. So we're going to do another Whitbread, and we thought what we'd do is 6 of us old farts and 6 young up-and-coming female sailors. And we thought, as the race committee got hold of us and they said, look, we're just, we're dealing with a potential problem because you're an all-female crew, and we've said in the race rules that you must have someone from another gender on your boat. We'll just explain to everyone that you're Maiden, and you're known to be an all-female crew. And all the girls went, let's have a male cook. Oh, let's have a male cook. So I think that's what we might be doing. So September 2023, we'll be racing around the world again.
That's amazing. And where do you go? How do you recruit crew now? Is it the same team that you raced with before, or are you like switching out crew?
Yeah, no, we're way too creaky these days, and we like our creature comforts now. So I'm quite happy to run the project and live vicariously through my team. We have, as I can't remember, I think it was Nancy from Port Townsend said, she met Wendy Tuck. We have these amazing legendary skippers, and they stay with us for 3 or 4 months. So we had Nikki Henderson, who came second on the Clipper, and we had Wendy Tuck, who came first. Then we had the legend that is Liz Wardley. Our next skipper is Annie O'Sullivan, who's an extraordinary British sailor, works with franchised young women in the UK. And then we have our permanent crew, 4, there are sort of continuity. And then we have 2 guests who donate money to sail on the boat. They can register online, and that registration process will be up again in August on our website. And then we have 2 what we call mile builders, and these are young women who need to get their miles, get their tickets, or get some miles under their belt to get on race boats. And we tend to take them from the where the stopover we're at, take them to the next one, and then we fly back. We pay for everything for them. So it's just our way of putting something back into the sailing world, as well as all the girls' educational stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm like writing this down.
Yeah, come sailing with us. All of you should come sailing with us.
Yes, definitely. Okay, this question is from Laurelyn Elliott, and she's asking if you could share 1 or 2 situations where your program has substantially changed a young woman's path.
Okay, so what we did was for the first 18 months, we worked with 5 partner charities, because what I realized very early on is I don't know anything about girls' education. I don't know how to get girls into education. I know how to raise money. I know that Maiden inspires. So we reached out to some some charities that we partnered with, and we raised money for them, and they taught us about why girls don't have an education. I mean, I thought it was just because of poverty or culture, but it's as probably many of you know, it's a myriad of different reasons. So we spent that 18 months putting money into programs. So we've helped teach teachers in Africa, 8 teachers in Africa. We've funded women's community projects where they are taught how to pass on life experiences to young women. We funded wells in Africa. We've just started working with a project in South America which buys books for girls in schools, or not even in schools, so they don't go to school, but books in the community. So a number of things we've done over the past 18 months, but for me the most important thing was what we learned about what Maiden can do, because I know I love Maiden, but that doesn't necessarily mean that everyone else does. But the reaction to Maiden sailing into a port is so overwhelming. It's so extraordinary. But I thought, okay, I want to work with the communities that when we go into, they come to us. So we wanted to engage. We were particularly inspired by a community project in New York for a school that has provided a creche for girls who unfortunately get pregnant but don't want to leave school. So those are the communities and those are the projects that we want to work with. And also what we can do is we go to them. We actually are physically there. So for me, the past has been great, and the funds we've raised and all the programs that we've funded have been brilliant. But for me now, it's very much more engagement between us and the people that we're working with.
Okay. We have another question. How many NWSA members have sailed on Maiden? I'll give you the names in case you're not as familiar with who we are. We have Susan Epstein, Linda Newland, who just are on the board. We have Debbie Huntsman, Charlotte Kaufman, and Margaret Palmert is also a member who you guys will remember from earlier because she received an award. But if you do know, let us know.
Oh, I know that we've had a number of your members on the boat. We've had a load of help, which is why I was recognizing names as they were coming up, and of course the great thing about women is, you go into port and they've done everything. They just do, I mean, we had a couple of volunteers, I think in Australia, some guy said, oh yeah, no, I'll organize it all. Sort of 2 weeks away, we went, have you done anything? No, absolutely not. So we put out a siren call to the women of Australia, and within days it was organised. We were done, and that's the amazing help that we've had on. If we didn't have support from your members and other women's sailing organisations, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. So we are incredibly grateful, because there's been such an amazing engagement, and women who sail, women who sail in Tampa had a whole fleet waiting for us of women sailors when we got in, and unfortunately then but they're waiting till next year. So, for me, I've always been a woman's woman, and I mean, I love blokes. I was married to two of them. For me, this year and the last few years has been so much about women coming together. It's been such a powerful experience. And the other thing that I found very interesting is, 30 years ago, men weren't engaged in this conversation, and now they are. And I feel finally we've got powerful women, we've got smart guys, often with daughters, all coming together and driving forward equality, because equality isn't just about women. Equality is for all of us. So for me, that this year, as I say, the power of women and, smart guys becoming involved and engaging in the narrative with us.
Awesome. So I'm looking over in the chat, and there's quite a few members who are here who are putting their hand up and saying that they've had a chance to sail with you or meet you when you've come into their port. So if there are any other members who have sailed with Tracy or met her when she's coming to port, feel free to do a shout out in the chat. Okay. The next question comes from Angela Borsix, and her question is, besides fundraising, what are your biggest challenges as a foundation?
Oh, well, at the moment, they're the same as everyone else, which is that no one can really see past this virus at the moment. So we're having to be creative as all very small, we're a very tiny charity. I mean, we work on a pretty much on a shoestring anyway. The challenges for us, I guess, have been up until now finding our place. What makes us able to do what we do? Why are we different? It's interesting, when I first put Maiden together, I built it on a male hierarchy structure. And it was only when Mary Claude, unfortunately, I sacked Mary Claude, although she's now the one looking after Maiden in Hamble, I have to tell you, which is a nice full circle. We then flattened out our hierarchy, and we became a female team. We just had to learn how to do that. And for me, it's been the same thing with learning about our strengths and weaknesses with what we're doing with Maiden. It's not building we were going to build a schools page on our website, and we struggled and we struggled and we struggled with it until the guy that we employed to write the page went, well, the reason you're struggling with it is you're not a school, you're different. University of Life, different education. You're encouraging girls to think outside the box. And he said, so you can't be like everyone else. So for me, the biggest challenge has been finding who we are, but now we have, and in a way, this virus has given us the time to just pause and think about what we're going to do next and how we're going to do it. So, but I think it's a challenge that we have overcome now.
Okay. Well, Tracy, on behalf of the National Women's Sailing Association and Women Who Sail and all the women around the world, we just want to say thank you for paving.
Oh, no, thank you.
Thank you for joining us today. It's really a pleasure and a treat, and hopefully we'll have you come back another time.
And we'll come and see you in New York or Port Townsend or LA or Fort Lauderdale or wherever you are.
Okay, great. Wonderful.
Will you shine a light in your window tonight? Will you burn it brightly for me? For these are dark, uncharted waters with no mercy on a sailor lost at sea.